All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Birds the Words, brought to you by Old City Sports Network. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at Birds the Word and Old City Sports, and also check us out on Twitter at Birds the Word 57. We also got all our Twitter handles underneath all of our names here. Definitely come and check us out. Fellas, we are on the brink of a new NFL football season. First game of the season is getting ready to kick off here shortly. But obviously, our game is going to be on Sunday at 4:30 Eastern time. I think it'll be 3:30 your time there, Carrington.
Yep.
Awesome.
Not soon enough.
Yeah, definitely not soon enough. Well, boys, I think before we get into it, I think we probably should talk about a little bit of controversy that arose over the course of the last week, and we all kind of touched on it a little bit earlier when we were texting each other back and forth. Old Gannon decided to do an interview and basically make some allegations about Nick Sirianni and some of the I guess high opinions that Gannon has of himself in regards to his tenure here with the Eagles organization. What's your guys' thoughts on this clown?
I mean, I feel like you said it in one fell swoop there. No pun intended, I guess, that he's a fucking clown. And I don't know what more there's to say about the guy. Sirianni gets up and gives one vaguely strange speech, with metaphors to flowers and et cetera, and people lose their mind. I remember Colin Cowherd just saying he's in over his head. It's a dumpster fire. And Gannon, man, every time that guy opens his mouth, what a disaster. Just farm it in, man. Like you're done. You're done. You're already done. I think they're setting him up to be a one and done coach, and he's looking for excuses already.
Yeah. Clown sums it up perfectly. That's exactly what it was. He had one soundbite while he was here during Philly. That was before the Niners game when he said that we're gonna fucking kill him. But other than that, the guy was in way over his head, and he got bailed out by a very good offense 90% of the time.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what ended up happening. He was looking for somebody to blame because obviously he was catching all of the blame based on the two or three significant stops that did not occur with his supposed defense. And the thing that really chaps my ass with this whole thing is the fact that Nick Sirianni had nothing but high praise for this dude. And ultimately ended up getting him the head coaching job. And then you go there, and in order to deflect off of all the shitty things that you've had to deal with, you're choosing to basically deflect and have it make it out to be like, well, the only reason Nick Sirianni and those guys are there is because of me. And I was the one that told him to not be the one to call him plays anymore. Which we all know to be, it ultimately ended up coming out that was a farce. None of that happened, and Nick Sirianni did that crap on his own. So, the fact that it came to that, it's kind of shitty. To be honest with you.
I mean, if you look at the NFL as a whole, and it might be an overused term, but it really is a brotherhood, and the coaches in general, it's a true fraternity. You look at Andy Reid and the impact that he has had, and but what he has to say, nothing but good things about Philadelphia, despite being fired, everything else. And you have people that go down even from the Packers coaching trees as well that have just spread all throughout the league. And when you go and you try to cut your predecessor off at the knees, it's never gone well in this league, and you better come out with some fucking fire. And I'm telling you right now, he knew the situation he was stepping in Arizona.
So you mean that same fire that the guys were supposed to have coming off the bus, and that whole thing, that whole speech that?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that Gannon took the bus to work, and it wasn't a long bus. All right.
Yeah, he 100% did clean his windows on that bus. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, boys. Well, without further ado, let's get into breaking down this first game of the season against the Patriots. And to kick it all off, we're going to start with where the spreads are at and where we're sitting at, and what we're anticipating from this game. So here we go. We'll hit them high, hit them low.
Hit 'em high, hit 'em low is brought to you by Diet Smoke. Use code OSCN for 15% off. I'm telling you, we got a few in the mail. Pretty darn good. Really, really good. Not for show use, probably, but pretty good otherwise. If you just want to kick back and relax a little bit, for you non-military folk, which would be almost none of you. So let's get into the odds a little bit and maybe just start with point spread and see where we are. It's unchanged totally, 3.5 points.
Okay.
The over-under is 45 over, 45 under. It's the exact same as it has been for 2 weeks on end. Not much change. I mean, there hasn't been any injuries on either side, although rumor has it Juju Smith-Schuster's knee is about to explode. That was the word that was used. And he is playing Philadelphia, so I'm guessing, we may be the team to do it.
Yeah, no, I think he's made some choice comments, I think, over the last week or so in regards to his thoughts with this whole matchup. So yeah, it's kind of intriguing for sure. If he goes down, I don't know who the hell Mac Jones is going to be throwing to. That's I'm still trying to figure that one out.
I mean, they have some solid receivers that are solid, if not spectacular, like just some guys that were some draft fallers from LSU. But to be honest with you, they could have given Jacoby Myers the same contract they gave Schuster, and they chose to go outside of the box and give it to Schuster, which is very strange because I think Jacoby Myers is the healthier, more proven player, and he was already a system fit and a favorite of Mac Jones. So for them to go outside and get Schuster, I think that was really stupid. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jacoby Myers would have been my whole thing. I was just telling him, not to throw the ball back to your quarterback during a lateral. But, but going from there, Devontae Parker is the other one, and he's such a 50-50 per game type receiver where he can break the game open, it seems like sometimes, and then for 6 weeks, it's like you don't even realize that he's even playing football. And then the other one coming in is Kendrick Bourne. So it's like pick your poison on who you're really gonna be afraid of in those matchups, which is kind of none of them starting, corners going on. So nobody you really have to double coming off the bat or be super worried about.
And I wasn't really worried about the Patriots offensive line, probably a big shocker to everyone. Anyway, but they're going to be missing arguably their best offensive lineman and their tackle. And that means that a rookie is going to come in most likely and be facing up against, any one of the 45 Eagles defensive linemen that we've retained. And that's got to be a pretty terrifying prospect. I don't see them maybe utilizing Devontae Parker a lot unless it's in the short burst screen game, similar to how they use Aguilar.
He's labeled as questionable anyway, so he might not even play at all.
Yeah,
that remains to be seen.
He's questionable. I think that is a permanent initial of his next to a scouting report at this point.
Correct. Yeah. So he's labeled as questionable, and then I'm kind of curious as to what they do on their end with the guard situation because they only have one guard who fills both positions, and this kid is, like to your point, he's not seasoned. And with both guards being listed as questionable, I mean, where the hell do you go from there? It could be a field day for our team. So this 45 points, I think, is not too difficult. And Josh Lane actually checked in and is asking, "You think Ezekiel Elliott is starting?" I don't think so. I think it's Stevenson is labeled as the starter right now, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a more Ramondre Stevenson coming in, but I could see Zeke getting some touches here and there, but it's going to be nothing. I think 5 touches maybe.
Yeah, and Ramondre has the best odds to be the first touchdown scorer of the game. And a lot of people kind of scoffed like, okay, well, at 650, that is pretty high for being a Patriot. But you got to look at how Bill Belichick really utilizes special teams and defense. He is no fool. He knows the type of team he's bringing in and the type of team he's playing against, which is a juggernaut. And you're looking at that situation going like, what's he going to do? He's going to be utilizing his special teams more. And I could see the Eagles, who have been very light on special teams players, on, maybe a fumbled snap in the punt return game with unproven people. Maybe the punter, which, has not been practicing so heavily with the long snapper. You could have an issue there. I mean, anytime Siposs is likely your punter, strangle me now. You could be, looking at a shanked punt, something, a cheap pass interference call could put it to 1. That's the only type of thing I could see with like rust of players really getting game action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So what's your guys' thoughts? You think we is it good to take the 45 over, or are we going under on this?
The only thing that scares me is going to be the lack of points I think New England's going to put up. I don't think the Eagles. Even if the Eagles score 30, I don't know if the Patriots get to 13 or 15 points to push this thing over. And it's not even being an Eagles fan. It's just, you look at lineup for lineup, and you're going to have a rookie tackle starting. Congratulations. Here's Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Jalen Carter, all these guys coming in. It's like, well, kind of fuck me at this point. I can't block anybody. Hopefully have a Winston Justice type moment happening on the field. But
I mean, you could see a Derek Thomas type moment out there with that type of offensive line.
Yeah, so it's going on there, and then you look on the defensive side of the ball. I just think if the Eagles get up by 20 and it's a third quarter, I think you're going to see a lot of Rashad Penny. You're going to see a lot of, probably if Gainwell doesn't start yet, maybe a little more Boston Scott, and Mariota might make an appearance at the end of this game. I don't know. So that 40 was what, 43?
45 and a half, right?
45 and a half. Yeah, that's just a lot of points, I think, if we're the lack of firepower that the Patriots have right now.
And it's a lot for one game. So if anything's going to come at it from the Patriots angle, it's going to be from special teams, like the return unit being leaky, not having a lot of time or cohesiveness together, having, McPherson out. Kyron Johnson played a lot of that McCollum played a lot on special teams too in the preseason. So over 60% of the players that really hit special teams hard are not playing special teams for the Eagles week 1. So that's not nothing when you're playing Bill Belichick type team. I can't stand the guy, but I respect the hell out of him when it comes to that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. No.
So,
it's
best prop bet for sure this time is Jalen Hurts. He's plus 120 for an anytime Jalen Hurts touchdown.
Easy.
Oh, that's easy.
That's
easy money.
That's free money.
Yeah. Easy money.
And I can read Corey Welk's mind right now. It's DraftKings.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean,
all right,
that's
boys. Well,
a hell of a prop bet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a easy money prop bet. It's just, the payout ain't gonna be great, but I mean it is, it is what it is. All right, boys. You guys want to get into the offense and talk about what we anticipate out of these guys for their first time out?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have one more for you. DeAndre Swift. He's the only running back that was lining up at receiver in practice. The only one that was taking wide receiver snaps and really getting in there and running those drills. His over under is 10.5 yards for receiving yards.
Yeah.
Receiving yards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we haven't thrown to the running back very often, but 10.5 is a one pass type. You know what I mean?
I mean that's a pass out of the backfield, and you're
One missed tackle, one throwaway play at the end of the first half when you're letting the Patriots are giving up yards, not to give up the big play, and that's plus 650, and it's already dropped to plus 380. And I first saw the line this morning, and it's already dropped 300 points.
Yeah, I threw a 10 spot on it this morning when I saw it on FanDuel. The same, just plus 650 was too good not to pass up.
I didn't.
Yeah, right.
Well, since I did, it probably won't hit. So
Yeah, exactly. He won't catch one pass this week.
No, he'll get 10 yards is what it'll be.
Yeah, so he'll be right. Good. All right, let's get into fourth and season.
Trying to stop a 4th and 26 and in essence take over. Plenty of time. Down the middle, it's Mitchell. Where will they spot him? They're going to get forward progress and a first down.
Okay, so fourth and season is brought to you by Righteous Felon Jerky. Go to righteousfelon.com. Use promo code OCSN for 15% off the best beef jerky around. Any orders over $50 get you shipping for free. All right, boys. So we didn't get to see much of our starters, obviously, in the preseason games. I don't think any of them played at all that we were anticipating. But I think we've all kind of grown accustomed to this. We know that's what Nick's going to do. So obviously, Jalen Hurts is going to be the starting quarterback. What are you guys anticipating out of this kid this year? And especially in this first game against an actually pretty strong Patriots pass defense, but that's about all that they have. Bill Belichick is known for building his defenses and getting these guys, at least in the secondary, in a good spot. I think the defensive, we'll call it the defensive coordinator, is Joe Judge, but we all know who's kind of pulling the strings with this whole thing. Do you guys? What's your anticipation for Jalen Hurts? Are we going to see a lot of run pass options? Are we going to see a lot of passing, dropping back to pass, or are we looking at a run game this week?
I mean, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a lot of RPO going on, but I'm just looking to see him just be continuously to be smart with the ball like he was last year. Make good decisions, don't force the ball. And, looking at the corners, I was trying to think of who their corners were, and I actually couldn't even name one coming into this year. So besides Jabril Peppers back there at safety, but, he's been kind of up and down as a player. Besides, they got Christian Gonzalez coming out this year, so we'll see how that goes with them. But it's like, here's your very first NFL game, and here's Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. So, good luck.
Yeah, and I think that's where we have great upside, because it's what we're looking at is, I'm not familiar with who Jonathan Jones is. I couldn't tell you.
He's good. He's a above replacement quarter.
He's an older cat. He's 29 years old.
Yeah. And Josh Uke, we'll see if he who ends up being a slot coming in, which we think it's going to be Watkins coming out. But I think whoever's going to be on Smith, I think Smith is going to have the bigger day than AJ Brown. He just always seems to be open. And they have a really good report coming out of training camp. So looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, and I mean, they've talked repeatedly about how they're going to ride the hot hand at running back and have kind of gone circles around that. And you talk about not having a lot of repetitions in practice, talk about not having a lot of a first-team unit just gelling together. You have a new starting guard and a unit that's just used to total cohesiveness. And even everybody's raved about my Husker, Cam Jurgens. And I love him. Guy's very athletic, like way more athletic than you would think. You got to gel together as an offensive line. And in order to kind of get that going, as they'd say at Lee Corso, the big hog mollies up front, you got to kind of get those run plays in there. And that's why I think DeAndre Swift will be the guy that gets a big feature of touches, because he can do so much. And
right.
the Hurts faced, and I guess subsequently the Eagles faced the 9th easiest passing schedule as far as pass defense schedule last year. And this year it's the 9th hardest. So they're going to step up the intensity. They've added some weapons. I think the offensive line will be better than last year by midseason. But you can expect some rust and expect Belichick to get creative. And I could see a lot of running, like Matt was referring to. If we get up like 20-3 or something, I would expect just a grinded out game. No use showing all your cards at once.
Yeah, it could end up being, and I'm hoping, be a very boring game in the second half. Just running the football down, which is fine by me.
Mm-hmm.
Get those guys out and keep everybody healthy. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. I definitely, I hope it is the case, and this 4 running back set that we have, with the Patriots being so limited because I think they even have some injuries on their side, on their defensive side of the ball, dealing with some injuries. They're not going to have fresh legs like we're going to have when it comes to that defensive side. So, like you grind these guys down with 4 different running backs and have them doing variations of different things. Rashad Penny, obviously, he's going to be the goal line guy. We've all anticipated that. We've said that from the jump. My only thing is I just don't want Jalen Hurts to end up being the fall guy and having to be the one that has to put this team on his back throughout the whole game. I'm looking for a group effort and not necessarily a one-sided one. And that's my only concern when it comes to Jalen and the way he's going to be operating. So,
yeah, I'm wondering if his injury last year may have scared for the play calling this year of how important he is for the football team. You know what I mean? We know injuries are going to happen, but it's like I don't think they'll be. I shouldn't say scared. The play calling may change a little bit. Maybe not so much RPO, maybe just straight up run.
Yeah, some reluctancy. I would agree with you if I didn't hear Nick Sirianni this morning talking about the fact, I guess it was yesterday when he was talking with Joe DeCamara and John Ritchie, that he didn't allude to them changing too much in regards to the play calling, which kind of made me go, well, damn, what are we doing? Like, is this all going to be for naught because you're going to continue to run the same kind of stuff that Steichen was doing? I mean, that's fine. I guess that's kind of what Brian Johnson knows and the offense that he's familiar with, and it's probably something that Jalen's obviously comfortable with because we switched to it after he came out of Oklahoma. But I don't know if we want to continue to ride that horse, because the horse is eventually going to break its leg, and then we got to put it down. So I don't want to play this game with this guy. So I just want to make sure that we're not putting ourselves into a tough spot and utilizing all the weapons that we have because they're there. It's just a matter of maximizing them, I think.
Yeah, and I think we've hit on this a bunch of times throughout the season, throughout the preseason shows too, that a big goal for them is getting the ball out of their hands, but your coach isn't going to come out and say, well, he's done power running the football or he's done doing whatever. I think you're trying to retain every cerebral competitive advantage you possibly can and make sure that the opponents have to plan for Jalen Hurts to be a weapon running the ball, but they want to ideally not have to deal with that and make sure that they are keeping him upright, because if they're not, as you said, the horse is going to be turned into glue, and we're going to be in big trouble if Marcus Mariota has to lead this team for 6 to 8 weeks to determine seeding or even get us in the playoffs, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
One guy I'm actually eager to, and I think you kind of touched on it already, is Cam Jurgens. I think he's kind of cemented his role as the right guard now. And I unfortunately hate to say this, but I think we're going to end up drafting another center here in the very near future because of where we're at as far as some of this stuff goes. Because and I guess when it comes to the Jeff Stoutland University, you learn enough to be able to play all these positions and be able to flex as necessary to, help the team and do whatever is necessary. And I mean, we're carrying depth, carrying more depth at the left tackle because there's 3 guys on the depth chart. One of them's on the IR, but we know where our bread and butter's at. That offensive line is the most effective offensive line in football. You got 3 All-Pros on there as starters. With I think obviously our weak spot is the guard, but our tackles are solid, and our center, I don't think there's ever been a center that's made the NFL top 100 list, and I think he was 31. So the fact that he was up that high speaks to how everybody else views him. So everybody knows that he's a god. So we're in a good spot
Nobody else
as far
like
as yeah, and it's I think maximizing our front five to get the run game off the ground, and if it takes you using DeAndre Swift and Kenny Gainwell and doing it that way and just swapping these guys in and out, I'm here for it. Do it all day long.
Yeah.
Let each of these guys get 50 plus yards, 60 plus yards, and call it a day. I'm fine with that. I don't need one guy to be the one that's carrying the ball for 100 yards every game. And I think hopefully that's the thought process with the way that they built this. And we all think that it's running back by committee, but it's just a matter of I just want to go out there and see this team execute. Obviously, we haven't seen any of them on the field together outside of practice, and that's how realistic is it? You know what I mean?
You got first game jitters, Tommy. We got you. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
You think I'm not nervous, all right, to go out here and make sure I don't look like an idiot for all the stuff I've just been saying? Like, of course, I don't want to look like a bigger dummy than I already do look like. I mean, it could be worse. I could be a Browns fan, but other than that, you got to go out and trust the process, right? As we know in Philadelphia.
You can't say that shit in fucking Philadelphia.
I know.
I like it.
But how about this? In Howie we trust. How's that? Because
that's true.
And I had to tell myself this when I thought about the idea that they're going to roll out Aaron Sipos as a punter again. After having all these guys in like Braden Mann to kick and other people that assuredly have to be better than he is, what has he done to earn a second? I have no idea. Maybe he has pictures of Howie's family or something, or he has him, his wife tied up somewhere in a closet. It's the only thing I can kind of negotiate in my own brain. But Howie Roseman in 5 year span, right, took two different head coaches, two different quarterbacks, took albatross contracts. He offloaded them and produced two Super Bowl capable teams and one title. And that's all you can ask for. So as long as he keeps putting us in that position, I'm going to trust that if the product doesn't need to play in the preseason, it doesn't need to play in the preseason,
Right.
Yeah, and same, last year they didn't play preseason and it worked out pretty well.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think it's, I'm all about wanting to see what we got, especially when you pick up some of the players that we did. I wanted to see some of those running backs be out there, and they did. I mean, they had a couple of them, but it wasn't quite as significant. Yeah, so quite as significant as I was anticipating or hoping that it would be. But you actually kind of touched on one of the last things I want to touch on before we roll into the defensive side. You touched on special teams. Now, punt return, the number one guy has been labeled as Zacchaeus. I don't think this was the one that we were anticipating. I think we had all kind of thought Brayton Covey was going to get called back up, or potentially somebody else getting rolled back there. And then back on kick returns, they got it as Boston Scott, which is another one that we were kind of like, the thought process is he's built like Darren Sproles. Hopefully he can kick return like Darren Sproles was able to, but he's not as big of a yards after taking a hit. He's not going to extend the kick return longer than after getting hit initially. So that's my only concern with this. And Zacchaeus, did he kick return or did he punt return when he was in Seattle? I don't know that he did.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure, but I think he may be back there just as a legit hands guy that's not named Devontae Smith at this point. You know what I mean? And if I were the special teams coach, I would just tell Aaron Sipos, no matter what you do, just kick it out of bounds. I don't care where you're at. I'll let our defense go from there because some of the coverage still scares me.
So Zacchaeus has 3 career punt returns for 36 yards. So in 3 career attempts, he's averaged 12 yards a return. So he had some some experience, I would say. What concerns me, so he has 2 kick returns too. And so he does have some experience, but I wouldn't call it extensive. My bigger concern, even with Siposs, is the continuity you have when you have tons of repetitions between long snapper and punter and putting your defense in a less than favorable position, because not even because your punt's so shitty, which it's going to be. I'm a student of history, so show me where they're not just shit punt after shit punt. And the guy had somebody breathing down his neck and still was just a shankopotamus. I mean, it's crazy. So I don't know. I think as long as the continuity's there, and like you said, Matt, for the love of God, get that sucker out of, but get it 25 yards clear and out of bounds. Give Nakobe Dean a chance to rock someone's world.
Yep. Right. Not to change subject, but the Lions just did a fake punt on their own 15-yard line for a first down. Dan Campbell coming out with balls the size of a school bus right now.
Goodness.
Riverboat,
isn't that what they call it?
I think the other major thing is maybe the comfortability that Jake Elliott has with him as being his holder. It's a big underrated.
That's a great point. Yeah. That's a great point.
It's a very hard thing to do. Ask Tony Romo. It's very difficult. But I was thinking about it never even crossed my mind until yesterday when I was sitting there thinking about it. Aaron Siposs, I'm like, oh, he's a fucking holder too. Maybe it was a comfortability that Jake Elliott had with him. I don't know if it's that deep, or if he was just the best choice out of four attempts they had come in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess none of our quarterbacks, as we've all traditionally seen in the past, the quarterback is the one that holds it. I don't think that is such the case anymore. I think a lot of the punters are the ones that end up holding these things now. So, I think that's where that came into play. And that's a good point. Carrington made it. Didn't even click in my head. So yeah, that's a very good point.
I'm just saying I can fuck up kicks and catch a ball and hold it. I'm just
I'm
available. Got an old wonky shoulder, but I'm available otherwise.
Yeah.
So who do you think is going to be Jalen Hurts' biggest target? If he does get to throw the ball, depending on how they shake this out, because this could be a run schemed offensive game plan from the jump.
So based off of just targets or production, I would say if I had to go off of who he's going to throw it to the most, I'm still going to go DeAndre Swift. I'm a firm believer. I got lots of stock in this. So yes, I'll probably be taking the prop bet. And I really think that we're going to unlock a new level of our offense, having a running back that can check out of the backfield as that 5th wide receiver. And I think he's also going to fill that void that we're talking about by only carrying 4 wide receivers. So I think we're going to find that DeAndre Swift really, I mean, we saw what he did to us. He's on our side now, so we can, he won. But we saw what he did to us with the Lions. The dude is an animal, and he is very patient with his blocks and when he has the support. Well, if he can do that with the Lions, what can he do with, big old Landon Dickerson out there just smacking people?
Right. Yeah, he's going to have the protection, that's for sure.
I'm going to go with Devontae Smith. I think Devontae Smith is going to have a big game.
Oh, really?
He always seems to come up with just here's 7 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. Just a quiet Sunday afternoon that goes under the radar. Because AJ Brown on the other side will have 6 catches for 144. Not saying this game, but just every other that he ends up going with. I think Harrington's right with the DeAndre Swift move. I think they are going to unlock a different tier of their offense this year, and it's going to be very scary to watch.
Yeah, I think that I honestly think that he's going to go with old reliable, and I think it's going to be Dallas Goedert. I think Dallas Goedert's going to have some big plays and be a key player in some of this because he went from being somebody that they had to factor in to kind of another guy that he's a piece of this offense, but as we're saying, DeAndre Swift has the ability to be able to check in as a receiver and do some of these things. So it's going to the depth that we're sitting at with this offense has the ability to be able to extend this field significantly more. And I think that some of the guys that have been double covered in the past, like Dallas Goedert and even Antonio Brown or AJ Brown, not Antonio Brown, fuck that clown.
I'm like,
yeah.
We're really going in then.
Yeah, it's going to. I think it's going to expand the opportunities for everybody as far as receiving the ball goes. Just as long as Jalen Hurts has the protection back there and has time to be able to throw. I don't think we have anything that we're going to need to worry about in regards to that at all. So I think it's going to be a big offensive game for us. I think this is going to be. It's not going to be an offensive battle. I don't think that this is going to go back and forth. It's going to be, will the Patriots have the ability to be able to stop this Eagles offense enough for, Mac Jones to try and compete with, which we don't think that that's going to be the case. It's just Mac Jones is not it as much as I'm rooting for the kid. It's not there. So
and
I think
Mac Jones doesn't believe in it himself. Like, I mean, read his comments, read between the lines. Tommy, how are you supposed to believe in Mac Jones if Mac Jones doesn't believe in Mac Jones?
Yeah.
Just so you know, every time I say Mac Jones, I get $5 from MacJones.com. So
I like that.
Good stuff.
I mean, he doesn't believe in himself, and he looks at the situation. So does Belichick. He goes, they've got the best defensive line rotation. He said maybe ever. He goes, they have like beasts up front. They have people absolutely thumping. He goes, you got to do the best you can with whatever you can get out of it. That's not the words of somebody, that sounds like someone talking to their marriage counselor, not somebody preparing to win a football game.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm just hoping we don't see the Mac Jones that we were seeing last year with the old cutback blocks at linemen's knees when he turns the ball over, because I want to go to Foxborough and probably end up in prison for the rest of my life. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're already kind of touching on this New England's offense, so let's get into our defense to kind of to see what I think we're all hoping and anticipating for, and then looking forward to seeing Sunday. All right, so Nickels and Dimes is brought to you by Outlaw Mile High Brewing Company, or Mile High Beer, sorry. Check it out at Tivoli Brewing Company in Colorado. If you wanted to order some, go through TivoliBrewing.com, I believe is what it is, and you can pick up a case through online and have it sent to your house anywhere in the continental United States. It is really a good beer. I blew through my 4 cases or 4 12-packs in a matter of I think it was like 2 weeks. So yeah, I need to order some more whenever I get an opportunity.
Asking for help is the first step, Thomas.
Yeah, I know.
A's for quitters.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You mean helping me drink it, right? Is that what you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some
All
people have a problem.
I got mine all figured out. It's no longer a problem.
Yeah, it's not a problem. It's a solution.
Yeah.
A delicious one.
Accurate.
Yeah. All right. So our defense. This is kind of our most anticipated and what we're all excited to see out of these guys, and they're going up against we've already kind of touched on a very lackluster offense out of New England. They are not the New England Patriots of the early 2000s dynasty era. It is far and away from what it used to be. Bill Belichick has tried to add some pieces in there, and it seems like every time he thinks he's getting close, he gets kicked back a few pegs by picking up a quarterback. And I mean, their second string quarterback's not even great either. But that's a topic for another day. But obviously, boys, we got our strong defense getting ready to roll out against these guys. And who do you think is going to be some key players in this? Do you think that it's going to be our defensive line, our linebackers? Are we going to have a day of cornerbacks lighting shit up? What do we got?
I think for me, it's going to start and end with Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham, because they're two of the least talked about Eagles. They're two of the least appreciated Eagles, but they're both highly, highly consistent players who know what it's like to come off of a major injury, and they're both the edge setters. And so when you set the edge, you set the tone. If we're going to allow the outside runs, those quick scampers, or how you're reading the screen, then you might be in for a long day. But if you can set the tone on the edge, the edge is all to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to agree with you. And you brought up. I noticed you left one person off of this list of defensive ends that you decided to name, and noticeably absent was the old old Derek Barnett. Do you think that he's going to end up playing at all?
I've offered to build him boxes. I've offered to co-sign on a Penske truck or whatever regional moving service is popular in your area. I've volunteered my labor. At this point, I don't know what more I can do. Like, if he's not going to take the help and get the fuck out of Philadelphia, I don't know what I can do. But, here's to you, Derek Barnett, the haunting presence of the Eagles defense, in which we keep all these defensive linemen. I really think he's traded by the trade deadline. Even the max amount of snaps that I read, he's going to get from Howie Roseman is looking at 12 to 14 snaps. So he's he is an outside rotation, because you have Hassan Reddick and Patrick Johnson, which they retained, which kind of surprised us too. But he's more of an edge as well. And then you have some guy out of Georgia, just some nerdy guy with glasses. I can't remember. Probably not any good. Nolan Smith as well. Yeah. In there. So you got some stuff. You probably have 4 or 5 guys in front of him. And do I think he'll play? Yes, I do. Do I think he should play? No, I do not.
Yeah.
Now,
I think
words.
We're going to see a lot of these guys. I think this depth chart doesn't reflect exactly how this team is going to end up playing, and that's what it comes down to. I think we're going to see each of these guys are easily going to be taking 14 to 15 snaps. I don't know that that's necessarily going to be an issue.
I'm right there with him. If Barnett sees the field a majority of the time, I think it's going to be towards the end of the game, hopefully up by 20, 22 points or something like that. But with like Harrington said, with the rotation of the guys, with Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham, and even if they put Jalen Carter on the outside and Hassan Reddick, he just doesn't have the room.
Yeah.
And then let him come out and get one penalty. I think Sirianni might just donate him to Bill Belichick on the other side, and just like,
holy crap, dude!
Just like the old motorcycle gangs, like, just give me your cut, your jersey, and just go over there. Like, we don't even want anything. Just go.
I mean, can't we just Red Rover him over?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can't we take Belichick and have him coach up the special teams, and you guys can have Barnett, and we just call it a day?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I think that offensive line of the Patriots is going to absolutely have their hands full. And now Sean Desai blitzes a whole lot more than Gannon did. So good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And didn't McCourty play last year for the Patriots?
He did last year. He is no longer with them anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So they lost McCourty, and you have Jones and Jones. I know it sounds like I'm making that up, but it's true. Jones and Jones. And they added a good, yet, maybe I don't know what's the word you say, kind of an unmolded piece of clay in Gonzalez. I mean, I think he's really talented, but he's
we had touched on that earlier.
Yeah. I mean, what is shocking you about the Patriots defense, when it comes to that side, that's going to really be hard hitting? I don't think it's much.
Now, Matthew Judon is about the only one they have over there, and we have this guy named Lane Johnson who's pretty good. So
right.
But other than that, there's not one person on that defense that you really watch out for that I'm aware of anyway. I'm not a New England fan by far, but Matthew Judon's the only one, and I got 5 guys up front that I feel more than comfortable one-on-one with him with, nonetheless, 2-on-1. So
Nick Tastic agreed with us in our context of Derek Barnett. So Barnett sucks. We all agree. You ain't gonna get no arguments out of us here. I mean, obviously, Nakobe Dean's been given the nod for starting middle linebacker, which is kind of nice. And then Hassan Reddick's labeled as the strong side linebacker, and then the wide linebackers Zach Cunningham, which was kind of, I don't want to say shocking, because he had a strong preseason, and I think we were all kind of high on him initially out of the gate. I think we were kind of hoping that Nolan Smith, I think, was going to be that guy. But to our point, we think that a lot of these guys, it's going to be a fresh legs kind of thing on a consistent basis. If the offense changes out, I think the defense will be changing out in turn. So we'll see the likes of Kentavious Street and even Moro Ojomo, I think, is going to see some pretty good playing time on Sunday, especially if this shakes out the way that we've kind of been alluding to and thinking it might shake out. By some of these guys coming in the fourth quarter, some of these other guys could see some significant playing time, which I think is going to be huge, especially on the secondary port too.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm just way excited to see Jalen Carter for an entire game, and not 3 or 4 snaps here. I want to see him throughout the entire game, and I'm hoping we get to see some Sidney Brown thrown in, towards at some point during the game, whether it's bringing an extra safety in as a third linebacker sometimes, or like not a spy guy, because you're not worried about Mac Jones's legs, only the ones that he decides to kick at you after he throws an interception. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think the defensive line is going to have a super strong game. I think Mac Jones is going to be very uncomfortable a lot, and I think he's going to get hit a lot. So
he's going to be on the run. He's going to be on the run a lot, and it's I mean, he is not going to have a good day with how much pressure he's going to be taking.
I think we're going to start the season off with a good sack number coming out of the first game compared to coming off the sack record that we had for last year. So,
and I would say kind of hedge your bets with sacks with tackles for losses and kind of tie those together, because teams that are scheming against you are obviously going to throw a lot of screens, a lot of quick bullet passes, and I think Nakobe Dean's going to eat, man. As long as he can stay healthy and on the field, that dude is going to be flying through gaps. And I think it's notable, too, that Bradbury spent quite a significant amount of time, even this week, practicing down in the slot at corner. And it kind of says a lot about the faith they have in Josh Jobe and what they think that he can do on the outside.
And that's I was just actually going to touch on that, and that's kind of what I was getting at with that secondary thing. Like Keely Ringo, Josh Jobe, and even Avante. I think we are going to see a lot of these guys in this first game as well. So it's a great point, Carrington.
Yeah,
it'll be good. Oh, sorry, Carrington. Good.
Oh, you're good, Matt. I think that could mean that if there's an injury, it'll be curious to see. Do they put Bradbury down there in the slot first, or do they trust Mario Goodrich? And to me, gut feeling, it's Bradbury in the slot right away if Maddox has an injury, which you can almost bank on happening. I have nothing against the guy, but he's pretty injury prone. And then if you put him out there, then maybe you drop a guy like Sidney Brown in there to play like that big nickel linebacker too, if you're looking to keep Bradbury out there at corner. and he can play that star position, which I'm going to speak it into existence, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, I love Avonte Maddox. I think he's a great ball player, but he is guaranteed to miss 2 or 3 games this year. And I was getting ready to say the same thing I think they believe, Bradbury going to the slot because they like Josh Jobe being on the outside. They're not afraid of that because in the past years we have gotten torched in the 2 or 3, 4 games that Avonte Maddox has missed.
Yeah, torched. Torched is a good a good word because Vontae is not that guy.
Yeah, and McPherson was the guy that would come in to replace him too. I think that's important to note too, is that God love him, and I think that him being injured and being on the IR might be the best thing for his career because he's going to get a long year to rehabilitate, but also to get his stock back up. Because when he came in for either outside or inside for Vontae, man, it was an absolute nightmare. Yeah. So might be one of the best. I don't think he makes the team if even if he's healthy.
He might not.
Yeah. I don't know that he's going to. I don't know that he'll be here next year for sure. Yeah, McPherson's done for the year, right? If they conclude that, right? So this might have been the end of McPherson here in Philadelphia. So unfortunately, but it's next man up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you were. I think he was put to the IR, so you'll get something. Participation trophy.
Yeah.
Any other players on the defense you guys are eager, excited, or think is going to be super impactful for us tomorrow? Or on Sunday?
Yeah. Was that Karen?
Who's that?
Milton.
Oh.
Milton Williams.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Fletcher Cox is actually going to be rotating out more so than anybody else on that defensive line, because of the the significant depth that they have him listed as within that depth chart on that defensive tackle side, especially on the right defensive tackle side. I think that you'll see a lot of these other guys rotating in more frequently than say like Marlon Tuipulotu. He might rotate in on Fletcher Cox's position, but I don't know that we're going to see a lot of Fletcher Cox throughout this entire game, to be honest with you.
Which is good, I think. I mean, it will obviously keep him a lot more fresh during some bigger plays, and he's still one of the better defensive tackles that you have in this league, and he's been there for a very long time.
Right.
So it'll be good to have, and just really looking forward to Nakobe Dean being able to call the defensive plays, get everybody into position, get everybody where he's supposed to be at, and so everybody can relax and stop he's only 5'9", doing all this. Just watch my man ball out on Sunday, and I can't wait.
When we watched, we were messaging back and forth about it, and I think all of us in unison were like, when he got that strip and just ripped it away from that guy, and I'm like, I feel fine. I don't know about anybody else, but that type of, like, Levante David is one of my favorite linebackers in the NFL.
That's a good one.
And he's very, very close to being top 10, and in 2 different categories tackle-wise. My goodness, man, that guy's been slept on. But that's what it reminds me of, and he was like a 6'1", 205 guy coming to the league. And that's what Nakobe Dean reminds me of, an instinctive, fast linebacker who's quick with the strip, quick to get off the snap, and he shoots the gaps. So he may be slept on. Yeah, and he's a good tackler. That's the thing. So
very underrated in today's football. Very underrated.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be important to see. No, you're good. Where they get people slotted in on defense, what the rotations are. I wasn't a big fan of re-signing Fletcher Cox at the price tag they had. Obviously, hindsight is definitely 12 million, 20, situation. But to that, like I read the article about how he has been mentoring Jalen Carter, how he messages him like every day and kind of keeps him on track too. And I think that's worth the price of admission just to have Fletcher Cox play 30% of the snaps even.
Yeah, absolutely. And just real quick before we move on, I just hated it the day after he had that strip down at the goal line during a preseason game. I turned on WIP and one of my least favorite people that I listen to on there. I was like, oh, it was just a missed tackle that he got lucky with. I'm like, it always has to be something negative. It's always something negative. Show the camera.
I can't. That dude pissed.
He's the neck. He's such a fucking jabroni.
I fucking can't stand that guy.
Pain in the ass. Like, I'd listen to him in the morning too, and I'm like, he's so high on himself that it drives me bonkers, and I don't know why. Yeah,
because they gave him the morning show for whatever reason.
Yeah, he gets Jimmy's on his ice cream. He's a fucking idiot. Can't stand that guy.
Yeah.
I wish that we. I wish they would have picked somebody else to do that show.
Yeah,
I really do. I don't know why they moved them guys up. I was hoping it was actually going to be Ike Reese and because that's the one that I listened to on the way home, and I prefer that one. But I guess
those guys are awesome together. And we're on the WIP kick. I want to give a shout out to Hugh Douglas, who lost his son this week in a tragic car accident. Always thinking about our old Philly players and everything else. So hopefully him and his family are doing all right.
Yeah.
Horrible,
definitely shout out. And definitely feel sorry for his family, and we definitely pass along our condolences for sure. All right, boys. Well, let's get into our prediction, and who we think is going to be our MVP for the game this week. All right, so cover 2 is brought to you by Fanatics. Sure to use our link below to pick up some of your Eagles gear for the upcoming season. If you haven't bought it already, you're already too late because you ain't going to have it by Sunday. So make sure you make sure you pick up some of that stuff. Kelly Green stuff is in stock on there, and it might be an expensive trip, but it's definitely going to be worth it to pick up some of this new stuff for sure. All right, boys. Predictions. Let's go around the table and see what we got. Carrington, score of the game, pal. What you think? I'm writing this down because
I'm going to go. Good. I can't wait to fucking destroy you guys. Let's see here. I'm going to say that I haven't thought about this at all. Just a number top of my head. I'm going to say Eagles 31, Patriots 13.
Damn you, Carrington.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I'll be dead honest with you.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Solid pick.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's definitely. I was leaning more that way myself. All right, Matt. What you got?
Matt. What am I to do?
Well, instead of just following suit of what I had written down here for the last week. So 31-13 will be mine. I'll go 31-10. Just to go a little separate ways here.
You Price is Right, motherfucker.
Absolutely.
See you.
Absolutely.
Tommy, if you bet $1, I'm gonna reach through the screen and strangle your ass.
I mean, Bob Barker already won. He got closest to 100 without going over, so we're good.
He didn't have to work with Vanna White, so he won before anything happened.
Absolutely.
All right. So, you know what? Screw it. I think that they're going to cover the spread and go and have the over. So I'm going to go 35-13 Eagles. I think that they end up covering.
You know what's confusing to me, Tommy, is you've been busting my balls. We're 3 episodes deep with you hitting me with this 45 over.
Well,
and I'm encroaching on your territory.
Well, to be honest with you,
you better meet me west of the top.
No, you took me and Matt's freaking prediction, so I'm trying to change this up, and so that we're not all picking the exact same thing. We said that we all agreed with you that we think that's probably about where it's going to be, but for the sake of competition and bragging rights for our post game next week, I'm going to say 35-13 Eagles.
I'll see you west of the chop by the flagpole. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man.
All righty.
That's a
Matt,
good pick.
We'll give you first go. MVP of the game. Who do you think?
MVP. So if we're going off of the Dallas Goedert, I think he's going to have a really good game.
Okay. Yeah, Dallas Goedert.
You go, Tommy.
Yeah, without taking the initial, Jalen Hurts being the MVP. I'll go Goedert.
So I'm going to go with probably the name that we've all anticipated as being kind of a key player in this offensive battle that we're getting ready to roll into, and I think that's going to be DeAndre Swift. I think he's going to end up being the player of the game. Yeah, blow it out your ass, Carrington. That's what you get for letting me go first.
Man, being cordial and geniality doesn't get you jack shit. But actually,
it gets you a thumb in the ass and a good look.
M. Night Shyamalan level twist. I'm going to go with Rashad Penny. Actually,
really?
Penny for your thought. Get that out, Tommy, because I think Rashad Penny is going to be the guy. Because based off of some co-host, I saw him. First of all, you're way better than the host they have on Fanlot. I don't know who that guy is, but
my microphone wasn't working, fucker.
You're way better. I'm saying you're better than that guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Apparently compliments are different here.
Yeah.
I think Rashad Penny is going to be the guy because, they say penny for a pound. Well, pound for pound, man, that dude is all muscle. He is absolutely a hammer. He has had very limited usage. And I think when they get down into the goal line, they're going to unveil, kind of like what Matt said, like they get up by a couple touchdowns, even 10 to 13 points. They're going to be letting that guy hammer meet nail, and he's going to steal kind of like in that, who's that fullback? Allstott. He's going to be that kind of guy for the Eagles this year. That's what I think.
I like the comparison. I don't know that he's as big as Allstott, but,
Definitely not.
That's a different animal.
I think Nick to Stick said Hurts for president. So obviously we all know, we anticipate that Hurts is probably going to end up being the guy that's going to be MVP. We had our picks, and some of these guys are going to be some key players, but honestly, this is all going to rely on the legs and the arm of Jalen Hurts and how effective it is he executes this offense. I'm hoping that we don't roll ourselves into this Super Bowl lull, that we come out playing strong, and we switch the narrative, and we're not that, the ones that come out flat. So I'm hoping that we're in a good spot.
I think adding this many weapons too, especially Zacchaeus, is going to be one of the most slept on additions of the Eagles, because he is at the same level as Quez Watkins easily, if not in my opinion, a little bit better, but he does something a little bit different. But you think 5 wide receivers, it's not your 4, carrying is not that many. But when you have Goddard in there who can flex out, and you have Swift in there that can flex out, allows you to go more 10, 11, 12 personnel, even 13 now that they got, Big O. So getting everybody out there in position and really being able to kind of hammer, meet, nail is going to be important. And I think keeping, Hurts upright is going to be absolutely gigantic. But I think Zacchaeus being in there is going to be that guy that you go, wow, we have true depth at wide receiver. Maybe the numbers aren't there, but the quality is there over the quantity, if that tracks.
Yeah, they're going to be giving a lot of teams problems when they start spreading these guys out. Like you said, they start going 5, 4, even 4 wide. If you you throw out your starting 3, and if you have Swift and Gainwell in the backfield with you, that you end up checking one out. There's a lot of problems that you end up coming on, because now you have running backs on linebackers, which we know isn't fair. Goddard on a linebacker isn't fair. Or you just hand the ball off and then you have everybody spread out, and I would take our 5 offensive linemen against they play a 3-4 against their 5 guys that they're going to have on there, you know what I mean, all day long.
Yeah, and Hurts wasn't particularly good against, he was like, what, 25th to 26th or something against the zone. And he wasn't real good against the zone last year. And I think adding all these weapons, particularly Zacchaeus, Swift, Goddard, are the triumvirate there that kind of make everything stand out. You saw how often Quez was open. He had some opportunities. Won't give anybody, any Super Bowl hangover here, but he had some opportunities in some games, let's just say, to make plays and didn't make them. Well, this gives you an option to sub the guy in or out, and it makes Hurts more of a viable runner, and an option with the zone and having Swift there too, because you have to focus on, like you said, once they spread them out, you have Goddard and Brown and Smitty, and then you have Swift. I mean, any one of those guys can play slot, and that's a hell of an offense to really keep track of. It kind of reminds me of the Greatest Show on Turf.
Yeah.
When they had the big possession guy and they had the speedster and they had Falk, and obviously we don't have that caliber of running back, but we have the combination.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you kind of you highlighted something that I was actually going to bring up during the offensive segment. So do you think the way that this offensive build is going to force some of these defenses to refrain from using man-to-man because of the depth that we're sitting at with some of these other positions, and we're looking at possibly zone defenses pretty much for the whole season? And that's something that hopefully Jalen Hurts figured out how to work through that and figure that shit out, because I think that, this man-to-man it's going to be hard to do man-to-man against some of, I don't want to say against some of the teams, because some of them do have the ability to be able to cover some of these guys, but some of the teams we are playing lack the depth at cornerback to be able to play man on man with AJ Brown and Devontae.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to look at statistics always and be like, I always say jokingly, I'm a student of history, but for real, you look at Jalen Hurts, he struggled with the zone. So if I were going at defending him, and you look at the way the Chiefs defended him, is they ran it in zones, they ran it in quarters. They had people out there to be able to make plays, but you can't out zone speed. And that's why I keep hitting on Zacchaeus, because you get him in there and you get Swift in there. That's 5 very fast fucking people who can catch the ball. That's 5 people that work well with the ball in their hands. That's 5 people that understand zone and screen games. So really making sure that you're getting the ball out of your hands quickly will keep Hurts upright, and I think it'll help dismantle the zone, but only time is going to tell if really that's the one weakness left in Hurts' game is just defeating that zone. So hopefully he's hooking up with the Seattle defensive coordinator,
Yeah, hopefully he figured it out, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this team roll out on Sunday for sure.
Yeah. And anything that we've learned from Jalen Hurts, where if he's lacking in anything, that's something that he harps on every single day. Every single day with it. So yeah, he may be 25th or 26th last year. I can see him maybe moving up the middle of the pack this year, and then hopefully, maybe top of the pack next year coming in. But any sort of, upgrade from that is a win in my book. But
yeah, he has no fun at parties, that's for sure.
No, and that's absolutely fine for me right now.
Yeah, absolutely, that's great.
Yeah, and Devontae Smith is the same way.
Yeah,
they said in Alabama he did not go to parties or anything like that. He stayed in, had his nose in the playbook and watching tape as an 18-year-old kid. So it's a
he understood the assignment from the jump and what was going to be needed. Right,
masters of the craft. So it's good to have.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for our pregame episode for the Eagles versus the Patriots. Birds the Word is brought to you by Old City Sports. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at Birds the Word, and also check us out at Old City Sports. Also check out some of the other shows we got going on there. Fan Lot Phillies, Flyers Alley, whole bunch of things going on. Shut up, Carrington. I'm seeing that smirk on your face. Also be sure to check us out on Twitter. All our Twitter handles are underneath there. That being said, I think that's going to about just wrap it up for us. So, all right, boys. Look forward to having some post game conversation after we go out there and beat up on the Patriots. But with that, we'll go ahead and close it out.